Puccs Nc non-combustible cladding with Pucks mineral wool insulation. Canadian-owned and family-operated, Duroc is the EIFS industry leader and pioneer, proudly celebrating our 40th year in business in 2019. Duroc is a polymer-based coatings manufacturer, providing solutions for all building surfaces, interior, exterior, walls, floors, roofs, and ceilings. Duroc is a founding member of the EIFS Council of Canada. Puccs Nc is non-combustible, continuous insulation, rain screen cladding that includes a first plane of protection from precipitation, a second plane of protection, a 10 millimeter drained airspace, and our Pucks mineral wool insulation. Puccs Nc is the first mechanically fastened EIFS system with a liquid applied water resistive barrier to be successfully tested by the National Research Council of Canada for the ability to self-seal around fasteners, and it is the first of its kind to be evaluated by the Canadian Construction Materials Centre for compliance with the National Building Code of Canada. Pucks insulation has a 10 millimeter deep geometrically defined drainage cavity on the backside, and Pucks insulation has fiberglass mesh adhered to the front side. Pucks is currently fabricated in a prototype facility that has limited capacity. In 2021, production will move into a new state-of-the-art facility that will have 6 times the capacity. Both facilities are located in Vaughan, Ontario. Duroc owns a Canadian industrial design for the Pucks insulation product. The Puccs Nc system is patent pending in Canada and in the US. In terms of the building envelope and environmental separation, Puccs Nc keeps the rain out, keeps the heat in, controls air leakage, controls vapor diffusion, resists fire, and resists damage from impact. Our Cement Bear WRB is applied in 2 coats, whereby the second coat is used as the insulation adhesive. Fasteners are immediately placed through the dimples on the front of the insulation that coincide with the center of the puck on the backside to form a self-sealing gasket around the fastener. The first coat, WRB, is applied and allowed to dry. The second coat, WRB, serves as the insulation adhesive. Mechanical fasteners are immediately placed through the dimples on the front of the insulation. Fasteners secure the insulation to the underlying framing. Puccs Nc is continuous insulation, which is defined as insulation that is continuous across structural members without thermal bridges other than fasteners and service openings. Pucks CIR values are 7.4 for 2-inch insulation, 11.4 for 3-inch insulation, 15.4 for 4-inch insulation, 19.4 for 5-inch insulation, and R23.4 for 6-inch insulation. Cement Bear WRB has an air leakage rate less than 0.02 liters per second meter squared at 75 pascals, which qualifies it as an air barrier material in accordance with the National Building Code of Canada. Just as air barriers are required to be continuous, EIFS WRBs are likewise required to be continuous, rendering the WRB ideally suited to function as the air barrier for the opaque wall assembly. Cement Bear WRB has a vapor permeance greater than 500 nanograms per Pascal second meter squared, which confirms the product is vapor permeable and will permit vapor diffusion to the exterior. Placing sufficient insulation on the exterior side of walls moves the dew point temperature of the heated indoor air outward, thereby minimizing the potential for condensation inside moisture-sensitive wall cavities. The National Building Code of Canada restricts combustible cladding to walls permitted more than 10% unprotected openings. The Ontario Building Code restricts combustible cladding to walls permitted more than 10% unprotected openings on Part 3 buildings, more than 25% on Part 9 buildings, and to walls with a limiting distance no less than 0.6 meters on Part 9 houses. Puccs Nc is non-combustible cladding permitted for use on all buildings regardless of construction type, occupancy, building height, or building size, and on all walls regardless of limiting distance and permitted openings. EIFS impact resistance requirement is 10 joules. Puccs Nc provides the following levels of resistance: up to 19 joules with a single layer of reinforcing mesh, up to 37 joules with a double layer of reinforcing mesh, and more than 40 joules with one layer of impact mesh plus one layer of reinforcing mesh. These illustrations show both the single mesh and the double mesh impact resistance. Sustainable design seeks to reduce the consumption of non-renewable energy, thereby reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Buildings currently consume 30% of the world's energy, and since insulation reduces heat transfer, Puccs Nc effectively reduces energy consumption. Resiliency is the capacity of a building to function under extreme conditions, such as those attributable to climate change. The EIFS design standard is the first and possibly only Canadian standard that includes an informative annex on resiliency, which addresses topics such as passive survivability, thermal bridging, air leakage, and retrofit. Passive House is an internationally recognized science-based energy standard whose goal is to significantly reduce energy consumption in buildings. Well-insulated, airtight buildings are the cornerstone of passive design, which just so happen to be inherent properties of Puccs Nc. Puccs Nc is not affected by the girts, shelf angles, and anchors that negatively affect the performance of competing alternatives. Puccs Nc has been used on projects that could have been done with combustible cladding because those building owners value its superior fire resistance, and especially so in the case of occupied building retrofits. Prominent Puccs Nc projects include the Ken Sobel Tower in Hamilton, which is the first passive house high-rise retrofit in all of North America. 49 Sinclair Avenue West in Toronto is a 7-story retrofit. 170 Trillium Way in Paris, Ontario is a 5-story retrofit. And the new Pickering Casino. Puccs Nc system specification and our CCMC evaluation report are available on the Duroc website. CAD drawings, 2D details, and 3D illustrations are also available on the Duroc website. Each CAD drawing has a corresponding detail and illustration, and Duroc produces project-specific shop drawings upon request. This is an example of one of our 3D illustrations, and this is an example of one of our CAD details. Puccs Nc theoretical weight or dead load varies from 4 pounds per square foot with 2-inch insulation up to 7 pounds per square foot with 6-inch insulation. Duroc finishes are available in infinite colors and in a multitude of textures. Duroc finishes can simulate other materials such as brick, stone, granite, and wood. The following slides showcase just a few of our many specialty finishes, but photographs alone cannot convey their true texture and nuance. In closing, simply put, Puccs Nc provides the desired aesthetics and performs all of the respective functions required of the building envelope.